All right, this is the Town of Lake Park, Florida Special Call Community Redevelopment Agency meeting for Wednesday, January 15th, 2025. The time is now 6:32 p.m. Can we have the clerk please take the roll call?
Board Member Hensley?
Here.
Board Member Taylor?
Here.
Board Member Thomas?
Present.
Vice Chair Glass Castro?
Here.
Chair Mashad?
Here. Can we all please rise for the pledge? And can we have Mr. Reed lead us off in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, please be seated. I would like to first start off by formally welcoming our new town manager as he is activated and officially on duty. Mr. Richard Reed, welcome. And we look forward to doing great things.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Do you have anything you'd like to say before we get started? Or would you like to reserve that for the next meeting since this is just a... Okay, sounds good. All right, with that, we have a special presentation of the Community Development Agency Annual Comprehensive Financial Report for fiscal year ended September 30th, 2023. And we will have Jeff come up.
Oh, good evening. I'm going to have Brandon Lopez is the partner at Markham, the auditing firm, and he's going to provide you with the presentation.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Chair and board members. My name is Brandon Lopez. I'm a partner with Markham. We're your external auditors for both the CRA and the city. And I'm here today to kind of go through the financial statement report for 2023. And you should have a copy of that report. So I'm going to go through a high-level overview and kind of some key reports and key areas. And if there's any specific questions you have for me, I'd be glad to answer them. So in front of you, we're going to start with printed page 1. And printed page 1 is the independent auditor's report. This is the most important page of this whole report because it lets the reader know what opinion was given. And as you can see here, the opinion is what's called an unmodified opinion. That's a clean opinion. That's really the only opinion you as a board and as an organization want to be associated with. So very happy to let the board know that you received an unmodified clean opinion. And we mentioned before that this is for the September 30, 2023. One thing I want to mention, we were even here today because of the hard work of Jeff and their team and Barbara. There was a lot of turnover during the year in staffing. There was also an implementation of a new ERP system, accounting system that affected a lot of the information to get to this point. But one thing I always like to say is working with Jeff, whenever there was a question, whenever there was a request made, the information was there for us. The answers were there for us so we can work as a team. So we're even here today with those delays and those issues because of their hard work. So definitely want to make sure I mention that. The next section, real quick, is what's called Management's Discussion and Analysis, and that's printed page 4. It's a very large document, and when we get into the cities, that's a even more significant size. But I always like to mention, if you're going to read any part of this document, it's that management's discussion and analysis, because it gives the reader an overview of last year and this year and kind of what caused some of the changes and what some of the activity was that occurred during the year. So it's a great overview of that. We continue going through, and we get to printed page 9, the statement of net position. So this is essentially what's called, a balance sheet, right? You have your assets and liabilities. And when you take a look at the organization, and you take a look at the CRA, it's a very healthy organization. The money is being spent in accordance with the CRA policies for the programs that were budgeted for. When we're doing this audit, it's not just a financial statement audit, but it's also a compliance audit, right? We're taking a look at the policies and procedures, we're taking a look at the Florida statutes, and making sure the money is being spent in accordance with what is budgeted and allowed for. And where is that noted? On printed page 25. That's where we get into our compliance reports. And there's 2 reports there. It's one in accordance with government auditing standards, and then one compliance report for the Auditor General of the state of Florida. And there we go through the requirements, we do go through our testing, and if there's any issues or findings, we would have to report them in writing. We're very happy to say when you review those reports, the only finding that we had is just a compliance in regards to the Florida statutes of the deadline of the report. The deadline is June 30 for the CRA and for the city. They did not meet that this year, right, in 2023, because of all of that turnover in staffing, because of the implementation of the ERP system. But what I'm happy to say is that we're already in process with 2024. We're beginning our interim procedures. So the goal and the plan is to make sure that the CRA and the city meets that deadline for 2024, which is June 30th, 2025. So that covers the overview of the financial statements for the CRA. I don't know if there's any specific questions you might have for me, and I'd be glad to answer those.
I figure we'll let you do your presentation, then we'll ask questions after.
Sure. So that covers the CRA. And in the next meeting, we'll go through the cities.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Commissioner Taylor, none? Okay. Commissioner Hensley? Commissioner Thomas? Vice Mayor? Or I should say Vice Chair. Excuse me, members, for misrepresenting your names.
I was just looking for the statement that's required by Florida statutes for CRAs.
So the requirements is the reports starting on printed page 31. If you look at printed page 31, that's the management letter in accordance with the rules of the Auditor General. So those are the reports where we will go into and explain if there were any findings, if there were any issues with the health of the CRA, if there were any issues with compliance in regards to the funds that they were spent. But as you see there, no issues were identified in our testing and in the health, right, the financial condition of the CRA. This entire document is also required by the Florida Auditor General, and that'll be submitted, which it already was, by the finance team back in December when the report was issued.
But there is a specific statutory reference that's required to be made. That's what I'm looking for.
Regarding the nature of the investment? What are you referring to?
That would be the 34.
There is a section that's in 33 that talks about the provisions as far as their investment by Florida statutes.
Okay. I'll have to go back to my notes at the office, and I'll share that with our CRA professional.
Not a problem.
Okay. Any other questions, Vice Chair?
Not right now.
Okay, I have no other questions, so I thank you for your presentation, and we thank you for all the hard work you did.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, we have a presentation on the Community Redevelopment Agency Marketing Plan. Allison?
Good evening, Board Chair, Board members, new Town Manager, Executive Director, Allison Justice, CRA Administrator. Tonight, we've been working, as you all know, for the last several months on the CRA marketing plan. We went out for an RFQ. We hired a professional. We have been meeting with businesses since about August. They started their work, so we've been working through this August through now. Some of the implementation, and you're going to see kind of a backtrack of what the plan is for the CRA marketing implementation, but some of the things we've already been working on, right? So we also hired the consultant until we get staff on board, a project or marketing coordinator to assist, they've been assisting with some of the implementation, the holiday event, the Rust Market that we participated in. So they've been participating as well in that. So some of the implementation's already been started, but this is, you'll see kind of the plan, how they got to the recommendations that they got to. And with that, I'm going to introduce Sharon McCormick and Lorena Ledesma from RMA to give the report.
Thank you, Allison. Thank you so much. As she said, my name is Sharon McCormick, and welcome, new town manager. It's very nice to officially see you. I hope to meet you very soon. And we have been working on this project for the last several months, and just a little background on RMA real quickly. We've probably all of you know we've been around for quite a while, and I've been fortunate enough for the last 20 years to be able to work in several CRAs throughout the state. And it is, you know, you don't do something for 20 years unless you actually love it. So we're excited to be here, and we love Lake Park, and I'm thrilled to see Janie and Jan here. Janie Fote had her store in Northwood Village years ago when I was working in West Palm Beach. So I love that she's here tonight to listen and to be involved in all of this. So just to, you know, without further ado, we're going to be talking about building the brand awareness, increasing engagement, attracting businesses and investment, and increasing the customer base. So those are the four main categories we're going to be discussing. And all of these, I want to stress, are exactly linked to your CRA master plan. So it's super important. In the report, we talk about that. Like everything that we've put together is in support and in implementation strategy for achieving the goals that are outlined in your CRA master plan. The other thing is that I've taught for several years about CRA compliance at the Florida Redevelopment Association, and it's really important. Compliance is extremely important, and being compliant with that statute is important. So all the things that we've put together follow that mantra. With that, our process is, I call it the 5 C's. We collect information, which we've been doing, and analyzing data. We connect people, places, and things that haven't been connected before. Collaborate with organizations, and Northern Palm Beach's Chamber is in my plan, in our plan, to do some more collaboration with. And then we create and communicate, and then we evaluate and start over again, collecting that information. How are we accomplishing the goals, and how are we doing, so that we can adjust and pivot. So the important thing about this plan is it is a guide. It's recommendations. It doesn't all have to be done in 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. It really goes along with what your goals of the CRA plan are, and really provides that guide. So with that, I'm going to let Lorena tell you about the data that we've collected and some of those touch points.
Good evening, everybody. Hello. So as Sharon mentioned, that we made this strategic marketing plan, but it is based on what's called the situation analysis, and that's what I'm going to go describing. There are many details in it that are composed within that situation analysis, but the larger topics are the household and population trends, the existing business mix, the audience beyond the Lake Park CRA, and the stakeholder input and digital presence that you guys have. The first topic, the household and population trends. Here, when I'm showing you some data that we've collected from our source called Esri, and Esri aggregates some information, makes some projections based on the U.S. Census Bureau data. Here, we make an asterisk because it's important to note that the households that are projected to be here in 2029 does not account for some of your development projects, like residents at 10th and Park. So that's something that we know, and we know that will influence actually our strategic marketing plan, because that's information that's not accounted for quantitatively just yet in the reports nationally. Again, the residential population in 2029, there's 2,233 residents expected. Again, that's without us factoring in the development projects you'll have. And next to that, the graph shows the occupancy. The green line shows the vacancy rate over the years, and how the trending line is headed down. That does show high occupancy also for owner-occupied and renter-occupied within the Lake Parks, within Lake Park. So we want to make that as a note that there's a lot of growth that's expected here. The existing business mix of the categories, so of the 513 businesses that are registered in Lake Park CRA, we extrapolated which ones are within the downtown, and the downtown we identified as being Park Avenue and 10th Street. And from there, factoring out, or rather categorizing what types of businesses they are. Eat and drink, retail, wellness and spa, and salon and spa, all those comprise about a little bit over 70%. And those are the types of businesses that people from outside Lake Park would be coming into for their services and for those products. The psychographics. For this, what we'll get into right now is describing what the consumer behavior is like. And this is just the cover of a report that we use. We refer to it because it shows what sorts of products, what type of services people are willing to travel from one city into another, from one county into another, cross those boundaries for specific services. So it shows in minutes in that little image the thresholds that people tend to be at their patterned behavior to travel for. With that in mind, we identified not just taking a look at the demographics from within Lake Park, but we want to make sure that we're casting a light on the outside the the town's borders as well. And within a 10-minute drive and within a 20-minute drive, we pulled the demographic information for those populations. Esri also makes something called psychographics, which was mentioned before, but I'm going to go into now. These are the types of profiles that are exhibited by people and what sort of propensities they have as far as how they consume information, what sort of products they spend money on, what they tend to save for. And with that, within the 10-minute drive was our primary target audience, and these are the top 3 profiles of that population within that 10-minute drive time. Modest income homes is family-oriented, multi-generational households. The renters are about 55% of this profile, so they have a high tendency for renting, and they enjoy sports watching, for instance, so we know that. All the newcomers, they're metropolitan single people with a college degree. Some are married with kids, so they're the dinks, the dual income, no kids. Renters are also about 55%, and sometimes this demographic actually is people beginning their careers or retiring. And then Metro Fusion is the third top profile. They're also high with renting, 75%. They're young households with kids, and they're dedicated to the work so that they could climb the social ladder, so to speak. So they're looking out for their kids, they're putting themselves forward, so they are pretty heavily invested in their professions. But they do sometimes work on the weekends, but they will also carve out some time for exercise and sports watching. So what are people saying about you? Now we learned what the data says, but we also needed to take a look at what qualitative data we found. So we did two components, two-pronged approach. We had in-person meetings and we had a survey. And the findings from the two were that the community really feels that there is a vision for artistic and cultural downtown. The events are seen as an opportunity. The history of Lake Park is important. Collaboration with neighboring cities would be one of the most motivational factors here. Public transportation and microtransit is important, and so is lighting and wayfinding. We also did a digital audit so we could understand how the perception of Lake Park is perceived and how our profiles are being carried. And one of the things that we're folding into the mix here is AI, because it's so easy to type in a quick question and AI just generates things. That's increasingly how people gather information. And what's interesting and what's really important and significant to us is that the findings from AI are very similar and reflect exactly what the community surveys and the in-person meetings all said. So that was something that was very reinforced. So I've told you now about the findings in the situation analysis, and now it's up to Sharon to explain how all that gets influences the strategic marketing plan that we have.
Thank you. So now we have a baseline to measure from too. So we have a lot of data that's there and we know where we are today so we can measure against where we're going in the future. So we have the 4 buckets, like I said, of establishing the brand and the identity of the downtown and the CRA, increasing the business and community engagement, attracting private investment and recruiting target industry businesses, and then attracting that new customer base. So the first thing is developing the identifiable downtown, the brand, the identity. What does it stand for? And as Allison said, we already started by doing this Downtown Lake Park Guide. We wanted to be able to promote the incentives that are in the CRA and then the businesses that are already there, which make up the identity of what Lake Park is. So when we talk about branding, though, one of the most important things that I really like to stress is that it's really not about a logo or necessarily a tagline. It's about that community-wide strategy to tell your story. You know, what is the unique destination experience here? So we're going to be diving in from an implementation standpoint into this, creating that identity, creating that story, and creating that message that then will be used throughout all of the messaging strategies. Some of the things that you'll see here that will help create identity is downtown banners. In North Miami, we did "To Know Me is to Love Me" and featured several of the business owners and entertainers and things that you could do. So when you go to downtown North Miami, you're seeing, you know, on these banners what the experience that you're going to have, and then a brand launch event to actually feature that and to highlight that to all of the potential organizations like your chambers and your Visit Palm Beach and Discover the Palm Beaches, et cetera. Wayfinding is also a really important step. I know it's been in your master plan and in your strategic plan and in all the planning, but I just wanted to reiterate too here that it's part of that branding and identity process to include a comprehensive wayfinding system. Next, we're talking about increasing that business and community engagement. And obviously, we use digital today to do that, you know, and to measure. We want to be like Pompano Beach with 22,000 followers. That's the goal. You know, we want to be able to improve this communications and engagement through these social channels, as well as potentially e-newsletters, the Neighborhood Ambassadors Program. I'll reference Janie again. She was instrumental in the Ambassadors Program that helped us in Northwood Village many years ago. It's a great program to really get the community involved and have volunteers helping us get to where we want to go. Then the business video campaign, and we began that during the holiday event, which was fantastic, and we want to really continue that storyline too, with those stories from the businesses of how they're interacting with the town and with the CRA and those positive aspects, because they're the salespeople, if you will, to bring other people in. Attracting private investment and recruit targeting industry businesses. There are projects going on, so we want to feature the excitement about that, really get the real estate community and bankers, brokers, and developers to hear about what's happening and get excited with us. This picture on the right is actually in Lake Park when we did a banker, broker, developer event a few years ago when we were working with the planning division. And it's just a way to really bring that target audience together to feel the excitement and to get to know what the town of Lake Park is doing. And the left is just a collateral piece that illustrates how we can showcase vacant land and come up with a vision for people to see and to start to understand what some of these things could be. This is a sample trade show and event booth, so that if your CRA staff is going any place and is going to be setting up, just having all that material and all that kind of branded strategy so it's recognizable. And then making sure that the CRA website is updated continuously with new information, and then potentially in the future having a downtown microsite within your website. That's a possibility as well. So then attracting a new customer base. We want to really leverage the tourism. Tourism numbers in Palm Beach County, we all know, are fantastic. You're right next to Singer Island, and that's what the Palm Beaches says about you. Blue Heron Bridge, Phil Foster Park, Peanut Island, Rapids Water Park, and Coastal Karma Brewing. So they featured one business and then all these places that are not here. So Allison has already, just so you know, she's already contacted Discover the Palm Beaches, and we will work towards making sure that they have appropriate information and are featuring what's actually in Lake Park instead of nearby locations. So that's really important. And then we could use our ambassador program as well to help promote Live Like a Local, enjoy Lake Park like a local, and potentially have things like a day. If people are vacationing here, maybe they're sunburned, they don't want to be at the beach anymore. Maybe they'll come here if we create these wonderful packages and these ideas for them to capitalize on. And those will be, those can be promoted through social and the website and things like that, and with our partners. Investment tourism is something that we created because we want to capitalize on that tourism market. Everything starts with a visit. Everything. So anytime that anyone comes here and they visit Lake Park and they're not from here, they might be from the next town or they might be from across the country, but their experience here could potentially lead them to wanting to buy a home here, to wanting to locate their business here, to wanting to invest here or develop here. So each time we have those opportunities to create that messaging strategy, that's the things we're going to be focused on and make sure that we're, showing people, hey, call us today, come learn more about us. And with that, the final thing is that this is a guide, but this is a matrix, we call it. So it's an editable Excel document that can be updated, changed, assigned, budget be put in there, and be utilized as a tool to track what's happening and where we're going and how we're doing and what we're accomplishing. So that's part of the whole marketing plan as well. And with that, I thank you very much, and we welcome any questions.
Thank you for that presentation. I will open the floor for any of my board members if they have any questions. Board Member Taylor? Okay. Board Member Hensley? Board Member Thomas?
Good evening. I just really want to say thank you. I had an opportunity, I believe, Sharon, to meet you about a month ago during the Rust Market, and it was a pleasure. The only critique I have is that the writing is so small, for the strategic plan, that it's very difficult to read. But everything is just wonderful, and I say that the job that you're doing and Allison is doing, it's getting out there.
Awesome.
And so I just want to say thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All set? Vice Chair?
How do we get around, I'm trying to figure out how to say this. Statutorily, CRAs are limited in what we can and can't do.
That's right.
And so I have a concern when I see marketing plan.
Mm-hmm.
Can you relate us back to state statute and what our authorities are?
Yes, I can, and that's a very good point. We actually, this is sort of a halfway joke, but my title for the last 20 years has been Director of Business Attraction and Marketing, and the attorney that I do the presentation with at FRA, she's like, we're changing your title to Director of Dissemination of Information and Communications. And so we could actually, because we have draft on this, we could change the title of this, the scope said marketing, but we could change the title of this to strategic information dissemination plan. Honestly, that's totally doable. Everything in the plan as well, it's gonna be tied back. If they're, when we're at an event, tying those things back to disseminating information about the CRA, which is why, Allison will tell you too, I'm a real stickler on, if we're gonna do this map, we're gonna put the incentives in the map because we're disseminating information about the incentives that are available. Anything that we're doing, I'm gonna follow what Claudia McKenna, who was the former city attorney in West Palm Beach, and she's now a CRA legal consultant. We made a checklist, and so I went by that as I was putting all of this together as well. So I think you're right. I think it's important to really focus on the fact that our goal, marketing, yes, we're disseminating information about projects and programs that are happening, opportunities that are available, and the opportunities to be here and enjoy this here and things like that. So that's the best I can do. I really don't like the 2019 change, but I have to live with it.
Thank you.
Board Member Taylor?
Yes, it's very nice plan, and I think it's kind of general. Now, my thought is, you came and you studied and you looked and you researched. You're looking from the outside in. Do you have anything in the plan that would include, there's some people and businesses that have been here forever. Do you have any plan to see what these people might be able to add to the plan? Because, this is not a new problem. It's been years, mm-hmm. And I'm thinking that maybe if you knew some of instead of the wonderful things, if you knew some of the things that we need to work on in order to, I'll just come out and say it, to make people feel safer down there. That might be something that is important to the people that live here now. Maybe over in the condos on the other side of the lake. They're not frequenting down here. I know they are not because we asked them.
Yeah.
And they said no. So something to maybe an idea that we can't think of, that I don't know, that you don't know, that maybe would include some input from people that know the area very well.
Yeah, I think that's really important, and I think too the part of the implementation is that brand strategy, and sometimes brand strategy means adding lighting. You know, when we talk about wayfinding signage that tells you where you are and how you're going to get to the next place, like where the parking is, those all add value to people feeling safer. You know, and all of those are really important, and I feel like that's, even though it might not be spelled out and it's not specifically part of a marketing and communications thing, I know that you can't market something unless it feels clean and safe. You know,
Right.
And that is definitely part of the CRA plan as well. So some of the things that were already identified in the CRA plan, for example, I didn't reiterate in the marketing plan. So I feel like they do have to be used together. But once there is new wayfinding signage, or if there's some new lighting, or if there's a new strategy that comes out, it's our goal to be sure that we market and communicate that has happened so that those people who may not have come before are now coming. Those are super important messages to get out, you know, on social, on the website, on a sign if you need to, on a direct mail piece, you know, depending on what it is. And that's why I kind of built it so that it could be flexible as well. You know, I didn't specifically say, do a direct mail piece XY, you know, 4 times a year. We don't know yet, you know, but when things happen, there might be an opportunity for that.
Yeah, because it's important. We all know that the more people that are out walking their dogs, the more people that are out, the better it is.
Absolutely. Yep. 100%.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's all? Okay. We're good over here? Just one question I had going into piggybacking off of Board Member Taylor. I know you've been looking at bringing in new consumers. Have you looked into what we have currently within the town in terms of average monthly income as well as demographics and what we could do possibly to pull those consumers out from their homes? Because of course here you have parity. You have some that are in high income and some that are in low. But there's got to be businesses to complement all that we have to have in the CRA. So that way we all can come out, not just out of town coming into Lake Park.
Correct.
But within our town as well. Has there ever been any thoughts in context to that?
Yes, and in the plan, we didn't go into detail in the presentation, but in the plan, we included the demographics and the psychographics of just inside the CRA. So we included that as part of this whole thing, because the market is basically, statistics say that about 80% of all retail sales comes from within a 10-minute drive time normally. That's just a general rule. So we focused on that tonight, but it was really important to look at also what's inside the CRA, and in the report there's a lot of information about the demographic and psychographic profile of just inside the CRA as well.
Okay.
And it's really important to look at that, because we know where we are now, and if you have these new developments, that will change a little bit, and we'll see how that changes, you know, as these new developments come online.
No, and you're right. And I'm a person, I like to look at other cities and what they provide. And as you drive down south, you see other cities and they provide certain businesses that you might think, oh, wow, the demographic here doesn't fit. But they're doing their homework and seeing, okay, there's an identifiable business here that can bring in outside sources, outside of the scope of the average monthly income that the area produces. So
Exactly.
something to think about.
Exactly.
Again, thank you for your presentation. We appreciate it. No other questions, I presume. And thank you.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
All right. Next, we have public comment. I have one public comment card from Mr. Vaughn, but I don't think it's for CRA, correct? Or is it for a regular meeting? Okay, so I'll hold this for the next meeting. and we'll move forward from there, okay? All right. Next, we have the consent. I will entertain a motion for consent.
I make a motion to pass the consent agenda.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a first and a second. Any other further discussion? Seeing, hearing none. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Consent passes. I have nothing under new business. CRA Administrator, do you have any comments?
I do. I have a few updates just to give you all. You may have gotten an invitation. Pearl of the Island restaurant that used to be Creole Social at 850 Park Avenue is having a ribbon cutting and grand opening this Saturday from 3 to 5. The ribbon cutting will be at 4 p.m. So we welcome everybody to come out to that grand opening. There's another restaurant that opened, Panda's Hideout. Mayor, I think I saw on your social media page you had attended. Commissioner Taylor also told me that she had been. It's a Chinese restaurant at 1440 10th Street. I went by and spoke with the owner. They're supposed to be sending me some information. I haven't gotten it, so I'm going to go back by. I'll go back by and I'll talk to him again. But we want to make sure we get the word out that they're in the CRA as well. Believe it or not, it's January. We're starting the process for the annual report, which is due for the CRA for 2024. Fiscal year 2024 is due on March 31st. Our financial consultant, Sean Mitchell, that already has a contract with the CRA, will be working with myself as well as the finance department to produce the annual report for this year. So we're working on projects, getting him information by February so that by March we hit our requirement deadline for the annual report. The job posting for the CRA project and marketing coordinator hopefully will be posted within the next couple of weeks. The town manager and I will be discussing this. This, again, is in our annual budget to have this position. We've put it in the budget for half a year, so about March is when we anticipated bringing someone on. Currently, our marketing consultant has been assisting me in any implementation that we're doing. I think it's more valuable for the CRA that we have somebody in-house, so we'll be working on this job posting. Russ Market also is this Saturday. Although we are going to disseminate some information. We've got some extra things going on. We've got some additional music at the gazebo at the Russ Market. We aren't expanding into the CRA parking lot, but we're going to work towards March to expand this event again. I've been working with Jesse, who hosts the Russ Market, on providing, again, some additional support for him, as well as our statutory requirements for disseminating information about the CRA. So I'll be there. We'll be passing out some of the guides. We'll have information about the CRA at that event on Saturday. And then Oceana Coffee, we had got word that there's a tentative date for a ribbon cutting on February 28th. I think they want to get it on everyone's calendar. I believe I have not spoken with the owner this week, so I need to get some more information. They're looking to get the temporary CO for their commercial kitchen part. So I think that the part of the business that will be more up and operating is that commercial kitchen. So we'll have it on your calendars. I'll continue to coordinate with them whether that date is an official date for a ribbon cutting for Oceana Coffee. And with that, that's all I have for the CRA updates.
Thank you for that. Any comments from our executive director? No? Okay. Any board member comments? Board member Taylor.
Yes, I recall that we were supposed to have an update on the 754 building in January, right?
Yeah.
You know, do we have anything yet, or will it be the end of January?
What I am aware is on the 754 that they are due to submit plans by the 18th. I will confirm with our community 21st their site plan for construction on the 754 building. So they have a deadline of January 21st. We have heard from them. I believe we're going to meet with them so they can submit their revised plans. But that's the update that we have for now on that building.
That's been there so long. Have they been receiving code violations all this time?
Yes, they do have a recurring lien that is on their property.
Okay.
Yep.
And one more thing, and I shouldn't bring this up probably, but you know the parking lot behind Brew House and everything? I think that would make a great place. Every time I see you, I think of one thing, a dog show. We could have a dog show someday. I think people would come. There's so many people that
Only
love
if
their
my
dogs
dog
in
wins.
the park.
Only if my dog wins.
Well, where would the competition? If you've ever seen her dog, you'd know it would win. That's all. Just an idea. Just an idea.
Thank you.
That's all.
All set?
Yes.
All righty. Board Member Hensley.
I did have one comment, but Commissioner Taylor stole it from me, the building. But I want to dive a little deeper. If we do not get the plans or the site plans on the 18th, what are we're going to do? Like what? I mean, we had them scheduled to speak and they didn't show up. So what are the plans going forward if we don't get the site plans?
I'm going to have to defer that question to my professional colleague for what happens if they don't submit their site plan upon their deadline.
And this was the item I had for tonight, too, because we were expecting a report today.
Correct. And I still would like them to come forward to a future meeting.
Good evening, Nadia DiTomaso, Community Development Director. So we did meet with our building official in regards to the deadline of January 21st. He did indicate that the Florida Building Code provides for certain action to be taken, including, having the building permit would be expired at that point. And so having the building permit being expired, they would really be liable for the improvements that they have not completed on the building. And there are certain Florida Building Code sections that the building official is looking into so that we can further enforce them through code compliance. Up until this point, we've brought the property to hearing. We do have an order on the property. We have a lien recorded against the property, and we're assessing the maximum daily fine that we can assess at this point. But the building official did indicate that there may be additional action that can be taken per the Florida Building Code, and he's looking into that.
Okay. What is it? I know it's more actions that you probably can take. Can we possibly get like something on it, like what actions possibly can be taken? Mm-hmm. It's not even continue to I've been like this since March, and we've been talking about this whole thing since then, and it seemed like the study is still there. Mm-hmm. Every time I leave my house, I pass that building. Yes. Every time I run into a neighbor, they talk about that building. Mm-hmm. Even if we kind of beautify it and put a fence around it coming soon, something that looks nice, but it's an eyesore, and nothing's coming there, and it makes it look dead. Now, as I was around, I got and by the way, a great job on the light show, but right after they talk about the light show, that building came up. We cannot continue to have that problem. Yep. I mean, that could drag other businesses down. If we want to build up Park Avenue and have businesses come there, I mean, that's going to be a problem.
Yeah. And we agree. We have these discussions quite often. So from a code compliance perspective, we have pursued the available avenue that we had, but now we do have the building official looking at some additional Florida Building Code enforcement proceedings that could possibly take place.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Has the owner provided you with any information?
No, the owner has not. His contractor has reached out earlier this week indicating that he will meet the January 21st deadline, but we have not yet received any plans from him.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you can you please relay to them that we would like to see them in a future meeting? And that's more of a request than just a comment?
Which we've made before. I thought they were coming to this meeting.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's unacceptable that we continue to extend their permits and they take no action.
I don't think
If they're not going to be a invested property owner, we just need to foreclose on the property.
I would agree.
Okay.
I remember a comment you said that we don't want to be anybody floor mat, and this is how I feel with this building. We continue to extend, and he do what he wants, don't show up. I mean, I do have a problem with that.
Understood. And we will work with the town attorney on the possible foreclosure. We'll take a look at the lien that we currently have in place and take a look at whether or not that's a possibility.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure you understand where I'm coming from in this situation from the last time we had this discussion. So.
Yeah, we're all on the same page. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other, Board Member Thomas, you had more questions? Did you want Nadia back up?
Not necessarily. I had the opportunity the other day to hear from residents on the east side of US 1, and a lot of them had a number of things to say as it relates to.
That's not in the CRA, though.
I'm going to say the reason why they were talking about. No, they were talking about the CRA, and they were specifically talking about Park Avenue, and specifically talking about some of the blighted business. We all know, of course, that is the reason why we have a CRA there. But they were very disturbed in the sense that the comment was made that new residents will be moving into Nautilus within a couple of months. And the idea was where they're going to go when they have a blighted downtown and the businesses all look like, they're going out of business, i.e., because it looks blighted. We made, I pulled aside and spoke to someone and said, we had asked the owner of the property to come forth to either to speak with our mayor or even to come to the commission meeting and speak and to let us know really what's the holdup. But they were very, very concerned, and when I say they, the residents were very concerned by that. But I do want to say though that that beautiful mural that you have there is nice. Maybe we could do something else around the other black screen so that we'll just keep our eyes at road level as opposed to looking up, Yes. I'm kind of thinking it. I consider too that my artistry is there, that little flower that I actually painted there. But it does. It looks, it looks horrible, and it's sad that we have to endure that. And I don't want to be the stick that, that beats the property owner, because at the same time, we would love to encourage businesses here, and we certainly have other incentives that are there in order to assist businesses. But it's pretty sad because it's almost as though the property owner is making a joke out of the town commission and the CRA. But I did want to say that. The last thing too in regards to, because you're leaving, excuse me with my voice, it's that time of the year. I'm not sick. It's just that the voice goes around this time of the year. But what I was going to also say is the landscaping along Park Avenue. They had a lot of comments to talk about the landscaping along Park Avenue. And one of them actually stated that whoever our consultant is for landscaping, we ought to fire them, because it appears that either they're abusing the town in making sure that the landscaping died so they can continue to regain their contract or whatever. But I do want to say that it was better during the holiday season. As far as the landscaping is concerned, it's been looking a lot better now that the holiday lights are down. I know. Yeah, without having to say.
Well, just to give you an update, I'm currently reviewing the RFP that's going out for landscaping, so that should be out within the next few weeks. We'll have the town attorney and the town manager look it over as well to make sure we haven't missed anything in that RFP, and that will go out for bid as well on a new landscape company. The mulch certainly, as you all have seen, the mulch certainly helped. But I think we all kind of, after we look at it daily, we see things, I certainly see things daily that I know can be improved on that. And with this new bid, I think we can start really holding somebody accountable to making sure that it always looks like that, because it should.
And because the landscaping was skimpy and it wasn't colorful. This is Florida. It's year round. We always have sun. Everything's supposed to look pretty. Yep. And it just looked as though someone just decided just to dump on the, on Park Avenue. So I'm just saying, but thank you. It's not to, to critique you at all. It's just to say what the public stated. Yep. Thank you.
Thank you, Board Member Thomas. Vice Chair.
My only comments were on the 754 building.
Okay. Just a quick question, out of curiosity, the contract with the lights, for the holiday lights, did they provide you any explanation as to what happened here in this building?
I know that Jamie, because that was the town, so Public Works is dealing with the attorney on, I think, what happened with their contract and the timing of what happened with the
Right, and the only reason why I
building
ask
and-
is I know the majority of the lights were in the CRA.
Understood.
However-
Understood. That is being handled, so.
Okay,
Good afternoon, Commission. This is Jamie Morales, Public Works. We did reach out to Brendano in relations to the town hall decorations. Thomas was helping us with the letter that we need to send them out, just to inform them of our recommendation based on the time frame that they installed the light fixtures. Nevertheless, we have not had any type of communication from them related to that topic, so that's why Thomas is confectioning the letter letting them know.
okay.
We haven't paid out nothing yet.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for that. Any other board member comments? Any agency member requests? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. So we will now take a moment, and I think we can just transition right to the regular meeting. So with that, this is the Town of Lake Park, Florida regular commission meeting for Wednesday, January 15th. The time is now 7:23 p.m. Can we have the clerk please take the roll call?
Commissioner Taylor,
Here.
Commissioner Thomas,
Present.
Commissioner Hensley,
Here.
Vice Chair Glass Castro,
Here.
Chair Mashad.
Here.
I'm sorry, Mayor Mashad.
That's okay. Here. We will bypass the pledge as we did that earlier in the meeting, so we will go into special presentation. And our first is a presentation by the Palm Beach North Chamber of Commerce President and Chief Executive Officer Noel Martinez. Welcome.
Good evening, everyone. It's so great to see you. As you heard, Noel Martinez, President and CEO of the Palm Beach North Chamber of Commerce, and with me today. I call her the Magic Maker, but her real title is the Director of Strategic Initiatives, Kathleen Joy, who I know you all have met before. We were asked to come in today to kind of give you a quick update on a couple cool things going on with the Palm Beach North Chamber that involve the town of Lake Park. I'd like to start by saying thank you. You know, the town has been extremely engaged as far back as I can remember. This whole commission, town manager, the whole team have been instrumental in helping us with our strategic plan, with our disaster and resiliency plan, our smart and connected plan. You're very active on our committees, from government affairs to education. We really appreciate the support. The chamber has absolutely been on fire, and that's because of the amazing relationship that we have with our municipalities, and we're so proud of the work that you guys are doing and want to continue to work together and collaborate to do some more amazing things. Before we get into the quick updates, just a quick overview on the chamber, what's been going on, just in case you're not 100% familiar with the chamber. So we represent over 800 businesses from West Palm Beach all the way up to Tequesta. I like to say that our biggest strength is our ability to bring the private and public sector together to do great things. And we really we live in a very special place. I know I'm a little biased because I run the Chamber of Commerce, but the north end of Palm Beach County is special, and there's nothing like it in the United States, and we do live in the best place to live, work, and play. I talked about our memberships, 800 members. The three most important things the Chamber does is advocate for our members, advocate for our communities. We have tons of networking opportunities for our members as well, and we're a resource for our members. We support them through helping them get the word out on their openings or ribbon cuttings that I heard about a few amazing ribbon cuttings that are going on. We educate our members, inform them about all the different things that are going on, and of course, promote all the great things. Speaking of great things, there are two things that we're very, very excited about that we were asked to come in and present on, and that's our new local business resource center, and some of the work that we've been doing with our foundation, with the Palm Beach North Education Foundation, with Lake Park Elementary. So I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Kat, which is going to tell you a little bit about those two initiatives.
Thanks, Noel, and good evening, Commission. So first thing first, I want to talk about our local business resource center. So this is very new. We're still getting the word out, and that's part of why we're here today. This stemmed from our Smart and Connected plan, that is a supplemental plan that we have to our strategic plan. And there were a lot of suggestions and recommendations in there, but this recommendation to, in a sense, create a one-stop business development website really stood out to us. We want to be a resource not only to our members, but to the region as a whole. And so this is something that we have worked very closely. We created a resilient and connected task force. We worked very closely with all of our municipalities, including the town of Lake Park. So really just to reemphasize some of Noel's sentiments earlier, this is something that we would not be able to do without the partnership from everyone, including the town of Lake Park. So the idea, though, is that if someone decides that they want to open a business, they have a place that they can go to. It's more or less streamlined information, some basic steps for what you need to do to start a business, links, local resources that are available, whether it's networking opportunities or learning opportunities, or even just resources that we have within the county for some of our smaller businesses, DBEs, anyone that wants to partner as a vendor for the school board or the solid waste authority or things such as that. And then, so say someone opens up a business and they want to start it, you know, they also need to know how to open it, right, within their respective municipality. And so we worked to gather links and resources and information from all of our municipalities. And then basically we all know that what happens at Lake Park and the processes and procedures there are a lot different than what we're going to see in North Palm. It's just all slightly different. So if I'm a business owner and I want to open multiple locations, it's streamlined. And so you're not going to see it yet. That's the next slide. But this is really just a snapshot of two things. On the left, it's our homepage for our website, pbmbiz.com. This is also linked from the chamber site. And then we're sharing it and promoting it via the chamber social. And then on the right, you have this new business checklist that we are distributing and encouraging that our town halls within the region have them, because it's more or less a summary of some of those entry-level steps when you want to start a business, ways that you can engage and network within your local chamber, within your region. But then, of course, on the right, there's the local business resource center where people can scan that QR code and they will take them to the website. So relying on that partnership that we have with our municipalities to ultimately cross-promote and bring people to those resources. I know that the town has a lot of its own resources for small businesses, but this is just an extra layer, and it always helps to have those additional touch points. And then we talked about the website and the different links. So here you can see there's a page. It looks rather lackluster, but the content is there, and that's what's important. So registering your business license and tax fees, zoning and land use information. So I highlighted specifically the town of Lake Park, but when you go to that page and you click on each of those individual things, it takes you to that respective link. So we're super helpful. And then there's a resources section that has small business resources, and there's some additional contact information. I didn't take a screenshot of that, but it specifically calls out the town of Lake Park and who to contact if people are interested in working with your municipality specifically on how they can open up a small business and get some additional resources and support here. And then I'm just going to turn it over to Noel really quick, because we did talk about ribbon cuttings and promoting that and networking for those businesses. So he's going to talk to that.
Yes, so one of the best parts of my job is that I get to go to a lot of ribbon cuttings, right? And the chamber puts on 3, 4, at times 2, 3 a week, right? I was going to say 3 or 4 a month, but sometimes we'll do 3 or 4 a week. As you can imagine, with all the growth going on in North County, in Palm Beach North, we've got tons of businesses opening. So one of the big resources, or one of the big things that we offer our members, is an opportunity to do a ribbon cutting. And we have all kinds of different packages that start at $350 and go up to $7,500, right? We could come out with the ribbon, with the scissors, invite the local elected officials, we'll invite our county officials, we'll invite, we talk to the business owner and say, okay, who do we want to get here? Who's important to get there? We connect them with media outlets, give them a media list as well. And then we'll come out, take the picture, right? We'll post it on social media, put it on our newsletter that goes out to over 8,000 people a month, that has an over 50% open rate, which is great. Social media is where we're really good at it, right? We'll put it on social media, boost it a little bit to get it out there so some more people could see it, and get thousands and thousands and thousands of views. And when I say thousands, anywhere from 5,000 up to 75 to 100,000. We've had some of the video shorts that we've put out that have gotten well over 100,000 views. Imagine being that small little business, right? How easy? It's not easy to get that kind of coverage, that kind of exposure, and we have the means to be able to help them do that. Education is the other thing we wanted to talk to you guys about, is education, right? Education is so important to the business community. It's a business issue, right? About 3.5 years ago, our board came together. For many, many years, we've had a foundation that used to be called the Chamber Foundation. And it was started back in the 80s. 98. Back in 98. Started back in 98, a businessman by the name of John C. Gaiba started an endowment for us and asked us to manage this endowment for him to give out scholarships on an annual basis to high school seniors that show leadership abilities. Over time, we realized, hey, we could give out more than just that one scholarship, and started raising money and to give out more scholarships. And we were giving out $15,000, $16,000, $17,000 a year in scholarships to anywhere from 3 to 6 different students. About 3 years ago, our board sat down and said, hey, there's got to be more that we could do. We started looking at some statistics. I don't know if you're familiar with the Florida Scorecard. The Florida Scorecard is an amazing data source where you get all kinds of information. And we saw that our third grade reading scores in Palm Beach County were at 48%. When you think about that, we're Palm Beach County, right? 48% is just not acceptable. Our board decided to put together a strategic kind of session where we kind of said, okay, we're going to do more than just give out scholarships. We want to really affect change and help education and improve education in our community. It's our kids, right? It's our future workforce, right? The first question a CEO asks the chamber or the business development board when they're coming into town or thinking about moving into town, the first question they ask is, how are your schools? Where are my employees' kids going to go? Where are my kids going to go? So the Palm Beach North Chamber Board decided to rebrand our Education Foundation to the Palm Beach North Education Foundation. And just recently, over the past 1.5 years, we've been working with Lake Park Elementary and done some really amazing stuff. And I'm going to let Kat tell you a little bit more about it.
Okay. Thank you. So Noel touched on it, but there's 3 main pillars now that we're focusing on for the Palm Beach North Education Foundation. So we're investing in our youth, right? That's the big thing, investing in our students and teachers, but investing in our youth through literacy programs. So I'll touch on that in a second. Teacher externships and retention incentives. That's the second pillar. So we have our annual Teacher of the Year award. So in the past, they got a apple, and that's wonderful. But we are now tying a monetary award with that. So that's really exciting. We know that the teachers, the schools are struggling, our principals are struggling, and we just want to do everything that we can to create that amazing, hopefully, opportunity and space, and keep them in the classrooms, ultimately training up our students. And then, of course, the leadership awards for our post-secondary education. And we're honoring John C. Guyba's legacy and providing those leadership awards. But in addition to that, we've also, there's no financial need requirement. And so we've opened up that as well to where now, we're raising scholarship funds so that way we can provide additional scholarships to those with financial need. And specifically right here in Lake Park, at Lake Park Elementary, we have raised $18,000 that has been given directly to Lake Park for literacy intervention kits. So that's kindergarten, first and second grade, really getting in there before third grade, before we get those third grade reading scores. We know that it's so important. It's a really big indicator of future success. At third grade, it's when they switch from learning to read to reading to learn. So we want to be a part of that statistic in increasing those scores. We have a wonderful relationship with Dr. Castro. Tiffany Law, their literacy coach, was just there on today's Wednesday, was just there on Monday, and chatting with them and discussing just how they've seen the students' growth and how this literacy kit foundations, I won't go into too much detail, but it's a Wilson language training program, how it's really effective, and they're seeing measurable success and growth just in the first half of the school year. So we're excited to continue to reinvest, invest in Lake Park Elementary, and give them what they need so those students are thriving, and we couldn't ask for more wonderful partners. And here you can see kids in the classroom learning. It's cute. There's an owl called Echo, and then baby Echo. Witnessed a few classroom observations today at a different school, and baby Echo's on a ruler, and it fell off actually in both classrooms, and both times the students were freaking out. They were like, oh my gosh, baby Echo, no, pick him up. So it's fun, it's exciting, it's engaging for them. They are really having an enjoyable time learning, and I think it also ties in with our teacher retention incentives in giving them those programs and materials. It's reinvigorated their excitement for teaching as well. So we could not be more happy and thrilled with that collaboration that we have and just the success that we've had in such a minimal time frame. So we really thank you so much for your ongoing support and everything. It's like Noelle mentioned, we couldn't do what we do without the collaboration of our partners and without the town of Lake Park.
Yeah, and I apologize for not saying this at the beginning, but Mr. Reed, welcome. Congratulations on your new role. Welcome to Palm Beach North. You are going to absolutely love it. This is an amazing community doing some great things. Our municipalities work together. You're going to be shocked at the collaboration that's going on in Palm Beach North. But welcome. We're excited, and we're looking forward to working with you. All right. Any questions?
I just want to say thank you for that presentation. I also want to thank you guys for what you do for us as one of the cities of the North End Chamber. I want to thank you also for reaching out to us and asking us our opinions, not just kind of giving us our ideas, but asking us for our ideas. It's a great feeling to know that we're valued in terms of providing input and collaborating with you and breaking bread with you and finding ways to innovate and create new ideas and new opportunities together. So I just want to say thank you for that. And if anybody else has anything to add? Thank you. Commissioner Hensley.
I just want to say thank you for everything you guys do. I think the North Chamber is awesome for what you guys do for the community and the business. But most of all, I love the way you guys collaborate business with the education world to give the schools and Lake Park what we need. Thank you so much.
Commissioner Thomas.
I try to take copious notes. So I got, as far as your 3 pillars for the rebranding, one was invest in the youth. The other one was teacher retention. I forgot the third one. What was the third?
Leadership
Okay.
awards, scholarships.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, anything else? Commissioner
Oh,
Thomas?
wait, yeah. I do.
Go ahead.
How has the chamber been working with along the same line as far as education, working with teachers that are within the community to assist them to get those students up to par? It's one thing going to the schools, right? But what has the chamber themselves been working with local teachers within their area as far as how do they promote or assist them to move those students along that's outside of the school?
You want to talk a little bit about the incentive program that we're working on?
Yes. Well, there's a couple things. I think mentioning the providing those literacy kits, and that is, they're getting a lot of professional development. The school district actually has a few designated people for professional development, and from the meeting that I had with Dr. Castro earlier this week, they have a lot of opportunities there within the school district that the school district's already providing. But then on top of that, we did talk about our Teacher of the Year awards. Obviously, that's an incentive, but then teacher externships. Didn't really talk about that, even though that's one of our 3 pillars. And so those externships, ultimately, our goal is to connect the business community with the teachers that are providing that CTE coursework, and then ultimately providing them another opportunity and outlet for professional development, and then in turn bringing that additional knowledge back into the classroom.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All set?
I'm done.
Thank you. Commissioner Taylor?
Thank you very much. I didn't teach. I worked at Lake Park Elementary. I was a resource teacher for the teachers. And everything you do, it counts a lot. Are volunteers involved in that program at all? Or does it strictly come out of the school day part of their time?
Yes, so a part of our, the literacy program, we do have volunteer classroom reading session opportunities to where the community can come out and volunteer and read to the different classrooms.
Thank you. If they're welcome volunteers, we could spread the word a little bit. Thank you.
Yeah, and if I could add to that as well, through our education committee as well, we have a program called the Principal for a Day, where we bring the business community and take them into the school, and they spend the day with the principal to learn what their challenges are, right? And spend the day and see what it's really like. It's a lot of fun. You learn a lot. And a lot of good comes out of that. A great example of that is Palm Beach Gardens Elementary School. Last year, the principal, or a couple years ago, the principal for a day was someone from Scripps Max Planck. And there was, I forget the need, but there was a special need there that the school needed. Before you know it, Scripps stepped in and supported the whole new program.
Wow.
I mean, paid for the whole program, got all the supplies, everything they needed. So it's about connecting our schools with the business community, and we're all about that.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for all their help.
Thank you. Vice Mayor?
You have raised the bar for chambers, and communities that are not in Palm Beach North are envious. And
That's good.
So thank you for what you do, and thank you for not just being ribbon cuttings and Mardi Gras, for getting engaged, for taking in-depth look at the issues like resiliency, business retention, and helping this resource, local resource guide that you have for opening a business. You've really raised the bar and helped all of our communities look to see how we can work together to enhance the economic growth of our area. And so we want to thank you for that you're not just ribbon cuttings and fun stuff.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We're good to
Thank
go?
you again.
Thank you, Mayor. We're
Absolutely.
all done. All right, thank you.
All right. Next, we have a presentation to Town Manager Richard Reed by Sparkle to Ignite.
Good evening. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you for having us. It is my pleasure to be here. I am new to the town of Lake Park. I come from Chicago. I was an executive director for Chicago Public Schools there and decided that I was going to come here and open up a special needs learning center. So we are located in the Lake Park Innovation Center for now, hoping to continue to expand. But we were very excited to know that you had a new town manager, and I have some really talented individuals in my center who wanted to present you with something and just say welcome to our town, and know that you're invited to come and visit us at any point and come and meet the rest of us. But let me introduce you to a couple of the individuals who come to the center every day. So this is Shika. Can you say hello?
Hi.
Hi.
And this is Kyle. Kyle, can you say hello?
Hello.
Hello.
This is Julian.
That's me. Hello.
Yep.
Hello.
And with Julian, we've been studying all about the town and how old is this town.
100 years old.
Yeah, that's right. We've been studying about all the different businesses and all the things that are found in our town, including the service individuals like the firemen and the police officers and the town managers who help build our sidewalks and or are there to support building all of the things that are part of our neighborhood, right?
Right.
That's right. Okay, so with that being said, we wanted to present you this little gift. We're hoping that you'll open it, but I'm going to have Kyle, who's the artist, come and give it to you. Kyle, will you come this way?
He worked really hard on it, and he tried his best to replicate your logo. And if you have anything else you'd like for him to draw, he's always open to new activities.
Oh, let's see. Hold it up.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
It's a real treat to watch him work, so you're all welcome to come and watch him paint. He replicates perfectly, and he
so
measures
cute.
as he goes, and so the letters, the numbers, all of it, so. Can we take a picture with you? Yes.
That's a good welcome. That's a good welcome.
That is nice.
Wow.
Thank you so much.
Oh, that's awesome. That's pretty cool. I just want to say, after looking at that painting and seeing what he did, the future is very bright. The future is very bright, and I'm happy to see that it is. Absolutely. Absolutely. No, thank you.
Could I, if I could say thank you.
Absolutely.
He does, Commissioner? Okay.
I just wanted to say thank you, guys. Thank you so much. We'll definitely be stopping by. No, thank you.
Absolutely.
Mr. Mayor, I had a chance to, of course, seeing it on the agenda, I had a chance to kind of look, at this organization, and I strongly encourage our community to learn more about Spark to Ignite. The kids are so talented. There's a collection of artwork at our library.
Yeah.
And I went over today, and it's just awesome. It's pictures of our national parks, and they're amazing at what they do. And I really strongly urge our community to look at the website, see how talented these kids are and folks are, and just how committed the staff are to to really making a difference, not only in the members' lives, but here in our community as well. So
Thank you for sharing that with us.
no,
Thank
it's
you.
amazing.
Okay. Now we have our presentation of the annual comprehensive financial report for fiscal year ended September 30th, 2023. Mr. Jeff.
And good evening. I'm going to introduce Brandon Lopez. He's our CPA. He's from Markham LLP. And he will do the presentation on the ACFR for 2023.
Thank you very much. Very tough to follow two fantastic presentations, especially when you're going to go through an audit report, but I'll do my best. And I just want to thank the mayor and the commission, for the opportunity to present today and really work with the town. Hearing these presentations is really why I joined the government team early on in my career, is because seeing the good that the commission does, that these local municipalities do for their community means a lot. So it's been nice to hear and being part of this. So similar to the CRA, I'm going to go through a high-level overview and focus on the compliance reports and the audit reports, and then if there's any specific questions, I'll be glad to answer those. So if you have a copy in front of you, we're going to start similarly with the CRA. We're going to start with printed page 1, which is the independent auditor's report. So it's after the introductory section, printed page 1. And similar to the CRA, I'm very happy to say that the town received an unmodified, a clean opinion. And like I mentioned before, we're doing a twofold audit. We're looking at the numbers, the financial statements, but we're also looking at compliance, and we'll get into those reports. But in regards to the numbers, the town received an unmodified, a clean opinion for 2023. This is a very large document, right, especially compared to the CRA, and there's a lot of information in there. So the following page, it's about 15 or so pages. It's management's discussion and analysis. And this is actually put together by the finance team and management, their overview of the year and comparison to last year and this year and what changed. So it's a very in-depth and provides a lot of information to the readers of the financial statements. We continue to printed page 16. And there we have the statement of net position, right? It's our balance sheet. We take a look at our assets, our liabilities, and our total net position. And when you take a look as of September 30, 2023, a very healthy balance sheet, right? One of the procedures that we're required to do is to take a look at the health of the town and do a 5-year trend, and not just compare it to itself, but also to its peers, to see if there's any fluctuations that might cause any financial condition assessments or emergencies or agencies that we would have to be reported to the Florida Auditor General. But based on the procedures we performed, based on the health and the activity of the town, no such issues were identified, and that's noted in our compliance reports as well. So a very good year, very healthy year for the town. We're going to go to the compliance reports, and that starts on printed page 98. And a little different, the city compared to the CRA. There's multiple compliance reports, especially because the town receives federal funds. And those federal funds are essentially restricted, right? You can only spend them on the specific programs that are allowable by the federal awards and the agencies. And that is that second report on printed page 100. This is the independent auditor's report on compliance on the federal programs. And in here is where we take a look at the federal program. And in this year for 2023, we looked at ARPA. We looked at ARPA and we looked at the expenditures for that program to make sure they're in compliance with the compliance requirements by the award and the agency. And based on the procedures we performed, no issues were identified. Everything was spent in accordance with the agreements. All the reports were submitted timely in regards to that federal award. And I always like to mention, if you take a look on printed page 105, the schedule of findings and question costs. This provides a reader a good overview of the entire year. What was the type of opinion that was issued? Were there any findings that were reported? And there were a couple items that we're going to get into now. In regards to the federal awards, were there any findings? And as you see there, no and none were reported. What type of an opinion was given on the federal awards? and what program was it that was tested. And that is governed by the Uniform Guidance, which is a federal statute that says you must follow this major program determination to determine what program you test. And so this year for 2023, it was the ARPA, because that's a higher risk program. So I mentioned there was 2 findings, recommendations based on the procedures that we performed, one of which, similar to the CRA, was in compliance with the Florida statute, the deadline, right, to make sure we meet that. The state of Florida, they have a 9-month deadline after year end, so it's a June 30 deadline. Like I mentioned before, there was a lot of turnover with the town, a lot of implementation of new systems that caused some of these delays. But for 2024, we expect, the town expects to meet that deadline. The other item that we had was in regards to general information and technology. Part of our procedures that we're required to do is get an understanding of the IT environment over the town, especially over the financial statement numbers and modules, and make sure that there's internal controls that are designed and implemented appropriately. We were able to meet with the finance team and the IT team to get an understanding of what those processes were and perform some procedures over them. No issues were identified. But the recommendation that we had was there's no formal policy in place. So there are policies and procedures, but it's not formalized in writing. And what issues come about with that? If there's ever any, change in a management team, a change in a finance team, if there's a rotation because someone leaves the town, if there's nothing formalized, it's very difficult for the next team to income is to be able to pick that up and go with that, to teach the next team what are the policies in place that we have and how to keep the town and everybody on the team accountable for those policies and procedures. So we have that recommendation for the 2023 year, working with finance, their team. They're in the process of finalizing those policies and procedures to get ready for the 2024 audit. And lastly, the last 2 compliance reports, it starts on printed page 109, and that's that management letter to the Auditor General. Here is where we would report, like I mentioned before, looking at that trend analysis, making sure there's no financial condition emergencies. It would have to have been reported in writing in this report, but as you see and no such issues were identified. And the last report is on printed page 112. It's specifically in regards to section 218415 of the Florida statute, which regards the investments, right? The town is only allowed to invest in certain tools based on the Florida statutes. We're required to take a look at that, and no issues were identified there. And the final page of this report is printed page 113, and that is the corrective action plan. So like I mentioned, there was the 2 findings that we had, and that last page is the towns and their management team is their corrective action plan to remediate those findings in the future. So again, very high level overview, but I open it up for any questions that the commission might have.
Thank you again for that presentation. I'm going to open the floor to any questions from my fellow commission members. Commissioner Hensley? No questions? Thank you. Commissioner Taylor?
No, I'll have to read it first.
Obviously.
I'll see you in 2 years.
Commissioner Thomas.
I do have a question, and this just really kind of like sparked my thoughts again about it. I know over the years we have had cybersecurity issues, and maybe even our computer person, our IT person would be here to answer that, where they have held local government data hostage. And as I was reading here, it mentioned that there should be some type of formal policy and who it's handling and, et cetera, our IT. And I've always sort of like wondered, do we have other secure platforms, I imagine, that we're currently using in the event that we somehow get exposed? I've always somewhat wondered about that. Yeah.
Good evening. Paul McGinnis, Chief Information Technology Officer. Great questions. It was a pleasure working with the auditors. We were able to take many of the documents that we have and begin to formalize those into different policies.
Okay.
We've since created acceptable use policy, password protection policy. I've created a complete disaster recovery plan, and that outlines many of the things that you're asking about right now as far as our backup procedures and our emergency operations center. So we do have an emergency operations center at the fire station, and all of our data is replicated to that site. We also, I don't get into too many details because
right.
some of this information is sensitive.
Correct.
But we do have backups of all of our data in multiple locations, and we also replicate to our emergency operations center. On an annual basis, I do test those procedures to make sure that in the event of an emergency, whether it's something like a hurricane or something unexpected, that we can immediately fail over to our emergency operations center. And we can certainly do that and begin operations in a matter of minutes.
Okay.
We do have many security safeguards in place to protect our data. We have protections at the firewall level and then at the hardware and PC level. So we have many protections in place that identify if any kind of malware has been installed in our systems or if we're under some kind of cyber attack. So we will be alerted to any of those events as they happen.
Okay, thank you. And I do know I'm behind in a module. I'll get to it. But yeah, that is a concern.
And yes, as you guys did see, we recently rolled out the cybersecurity training for all employees and elected officials. Those are 20 to 30-minute modules, very easy. They just help to bring awareness to all of the dangers that are out there that we all experience, not only here in our professional lives, but also in your personal lives too, because we all have personal emails and cell phones, et cetera. So it's good to think of these things both professionally and personally.
Thank you, Paul.
Yeah, thank you.
Sorry, just to follow up, in regards to the recommendation, the finding, because we were able to get the support to make sure that those processes were taking place, it was, our in regards was really more, let's formalize this, right? So that way going forward, if there's ever any, to turn over and things like that, we have that policy in place, and this is what we follow and stand by. So that's what. But I want to make sure we were able to verify that yes, the backups were being performed, and the different security processes were in place. It's just let's formalize that going forward.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it wasn't as though it wasn't there. You just wanted
Correct.
to make sure that it was written,
Exactly.
a written policy for it.
Exactly, and that's
Thank
why
you.
the level of the recommendation finding is at a lower level as opposed to we don't have this in place at all.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice Mayor.
I was just double checking notes, so I see you were retained in April of '24.
Correct.
So we really can't yell at you for this being so late. But the fiscal year '24 report will be presented to us in April, May?
Yes, so the plan is we're actually in the process of our planning procedures, working with the finance team, and the goal is yes. And the May timeline is what we expect to make sure we beat the required deadline of June 30. That is the goal. And to go back, the RFP process, I think, started a little bit later than maybe the goal was. So we were engaged to actually start the audit, like you mentioned, in April. So we're a little bit behind the ball working, but we know this year that's the goal, is to make sure we meet that deadline.
Thank you.
Go ahead. Ask.
Is there a penalty?
So there's no penalty. What will happen is the Florida Auditor General will make sure, okay, you missed the deadline the first year. They'll ask you why. And the reasoning and the response will be there was a significant turnover in staff.
Right.
There was an implementation of a new ERP system and the new team getting accustomed to that financial statement data. So there's no penalty. If it becomes to be a routine pattern year after year after year, that's when you'll start to hear back from the JLAG, which is the General Legislative Audit Committee, where they'll be like, okay, you said it was this reason, but what's still happening? So That's why I mentioned this year there's a reasoning for it, but we expect going forward, working with the finance team, that this will not be an issue, a repeated issue.
An ongoing issue, right, you're saying?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions, Vice Mayor? No? Thank you again.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Have a great rest of your night.
Okay, that's all we have for special presentations. Next, we have public comment. I have 2 public comment cards. The first one is from Brett Vaughn. And as you know, public comments are 3 minutes, so please handle accordingly so we can get through.
You guys ready? All right. So I'm Brett Vaughn. I'm an eco-progressive realtor and also an event organizer. And I heard recently, I attended a family church, and one of the junior pastors mentioned something in regards to grants for events in Lake Park. And now I don't know if that's something that continues on, but this is about an event that we've had in the past, and one I would love to talk to Lake Park about having here in the future. My focus is predominantly on nature. I love plants. I love animals. That's why this festival that we had back in 2021 was called Flora Fauna Fest. I read once that Walt Disney created Disneyland for his daughters. My daughter, who's now 11, she was 8 at the time. Since she was 2 years old, her and I created cartoon characters that at 8 years old she got to see come to life in that amphitheater, and it was all about bringing community together. It was all about talking about animals. It was all about talking about plants. We had Let It Rot, which was compost folks that came out, not only collected all the trash, but talked about the importance of compost. We raised money for bush wildlife. We raised money for a green community who talks about community gardens. Now, the potential for this event presently or up in the future would be to continue the idea of the original event, which is a one-day theme park that we, instead of leaving a mess, we make a difference. So anything that we collect, it's all food that's compostable. It's all things that we, even down to the music and the folks that we bring together, we talk about community. The idea is talking about a story such as like Stone Soup, where a gentleman comes into town and brings communities that's been torn apart by plight, or in regards to the words blight that you might bring up, and the focus would be in bringing the community. It would be great to see like Spark to Ignite be a part of the community. I love the ideas of co-op grocery stores and bringing like farm to table ideas into communities. And ultimately, it's not just about putting together a theme park that makes a difference for a day, but it's also about instilling ideas into towns. I really love Lake Park. I really love that. When the mayor speaks in regards to during the CRA meetings, hey, have you guys talked about not just the outside in? I think we've seen a lot of that recently, and some of this overdevelopment that we see around us can destroy communities. And ultimately, I've heard a lot of horror stories about when people make too many decisions, and you end up with a lot of people that can no longer afford to live in those very communities. And I think that what you guys do every time I've come to these meetings, where I haven't always heard in other meetings I've gone to, it's consistently about the community first. And it's something that, the very reason why I wanted to come to y'all and speak to you about Flora Fauna Fest. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Michael O'Rourke.
Hi, I'm Michael O'Rourke, and I live in the town. I came here to welcome Mr. Reed as our new town manager, and to say that, tell you that I'm running for commissioner, and so I don't know if I'll be working with you, but whether I am or not, we're glad to see you here, and we wish you the best. We were talking earlier about in the presentation in the CRA about the community growth and business growth in the downtown area, and I want to remind the commission that it's not just the
the idea of a marketing plan. It's the decisions you make up on the dais, decisions I've made, decisions that other commissioners have made that have an impact on the well-being of our community. We have a building in the downtown area that can only be described now as a blighted building. And you can talk about how we solve that problem, but we should not forget how that problem arose. Because when you start doing things that are similar to that and preventing planned things from happening, you can create those problems over and over again. And I ask you to consider that. The second thing I wanted to talk about was we were at a meeting the other day down at the condo association. It was a very frustrating meeting because of sunshine law requirements, as I pointed out, that you're not allowed to talk about anything because that's what the sunshine law is about. You're not about to discuss it in anything that can be brought up on the dais where it could be voted on. So we didn't do that. We just sat there and listened to a bunch of people in our community and the issues that they had. And it made me think, well, why don't we have a meeting where we can have the public really find out what people think, what their policies are, what their goals are, what their vision is for this community? Because that's very important. If we can't do that before this upcoming election, then what is the point? So I suggest to the commission that we put together a town hall meeting right here in this building that's noticed properly and that is addressed with questions from our community. I think that would be a great idea. And that's it. Again, good luck. Welcome, Mr. Reed. Thank you.
Thank you. That's it for public comment cards. Next, we have the consent agenda.
I just want to point out that guy right there, Brett, is an incredible musician. He didn't say that, but he's an incredible musician.
Thank you for sharing that with us, Mr. Rourke. Next, we have the consent agenda. Can I entertain a motion?
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second it.
We have a first and a second. Any other further discussion? Seeing, hearing none. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Consent passes. We have nothing on ordinance on first reading, nothing on ordinance on second reading. However, before we go into old business, I believe, Town Manager, that we had two items that was requested to be pulled. They were items 10 and 11.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we are going to pull, just for the record, we are pulling items 10 and 11 from the agenda, which will leave us with one in old business and one in new business. So we will go right into old business. Item number 9, legislative priority discussion, oval bout at the intersection of 10th Street, Prosperity Farms Road, and Northern Drive. Town Manager. Or if you like, I can go with Merrill, Miss Merrill.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, and brand new Town Manager. We're happy to have everybody here. During the last meeting, an item was apparently sort of brought up and there was some confusion, and it was requested that it come back today, which is why I stand here before you. I will kind of summarize what I have in my agenda request form. Back in November, we had an internal staff meeting to discuss what we would submit to the state for an appropriations request. We came up with two ideas. We were informed by our lobbyist that we should aim for something that's about $800,000. So with that in mind, we had our conversation. We came up with two possibilities. One would be various uses for the fill that was obtained as a result of the Palm Beach Shores agreement, and the other one was to create an oval about, which is a traffic safety initiative. And essentially, the creation of an oval about, which is similar to a roundabout, but oval, will enhance safety at a 5-legged intersection at 10th Street, Prosperity Farms Road, Northern Drive in the town. This would create immediate jobs, improve transportation conditions, enhance public safety, and support the economy because the roads would be safer and easier to navigate. This project will probably cost about $1.2 million, so we would match the $800,000 with $400,000 from the CRA budget. I stand here before you asking your permission to move forward with that as our appropriations request for this year.
Okay, thank you for that, Meryl. First off, before we go into any, do we have any questions for Meryl? Commissioner
Meryl,
Taylor?
could you repeat that last part that you said? Just the last sentence, you're asking us to what?
Approve us to move forward with this as our appropriations request.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so the comment from staff is that we make this a priority for submission to the State House and Senate for the 2025 legislative session.
I have a question.
Vice Mayor.
I have a question. So we had not filed for this project through the TPA for Local Initiative or TA? See, I thought years ago we had applied for funding through that mechanism. I spoke with Ellen Bogdanoff, and she apologized that it didn't appear that her and staff had coordinated when she was here before us last. And she said that the term oval about is what threw her because she didn't remember using that term, and she apologizes that she didn't hope it didn't reflect poorly on Merrill because they did coordinate on this. But she thinks that safety is the key word that will get the attention of the legislators for potential funding.
So more or less keep the oval about name out, but
Not necessarily that, but the focus has to be on safety and how to prevent crashes and
as the overall reason.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, if I may, she and I had an email exchange earlier today, and we did discuss, branding it as a traffic safety upgrade and explaining that it is an oval about rather than a roundabout because it has an additional 5th leg coming into it, which actually creates more of a traffic problem or concern that this would be mitigating.
Okay.
And, sorry.
My apologies, go ahead.
In our cheat sheet that you prepare for us when we go up to Tallahassee, if you can have some crash data or something that indicates the safety issue so that we can highlight that when we meet with legislators.
That would be extremely helpful.
Consider it done.
If you mind if you had any successes from other communities that may have had something similar.
Excuse me, can you?
Excuse me. If you even find other communities that may have had a similar situation that they found, that they went with this approach with the oval about and have had successes with it.
And I can also actually, opposing that, Ellen mentioned earlier that there's a situation in Broward where there's a 5-legged kind of thing, and she said it's just treacherous and people go off in wrong directions. So yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Awesome. Any questions on this side here? No?
Is this our single priority?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. If we have no other questions, I will entertain a motion.
Excuse me, I think Commissioner Taylor?
Oh,
Just
Commissioner
one
Taylor,
quick
my
question.
apologies. Go ahead.
I remember when we went through all this, how far along are we? Do we have a design?
Yes.
Okay, we got the design, so we're ready to go? Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
That was quick.
I moved that the above motion priority be approved for submission to the State House and Senate for the 2025 legislation session.
Do we have a second? We have a first and a second. Any other further discussion? Seeing, hearing none, those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Passes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. That's it for old business. Under new business, we have item number 12, Resolution 050125, authorizing and directing the mayor to execute the agreement between the Town of Lake Park and Bonner Mobile Bar Service for Sunset Celebration Beverage Service. And we have Ms. Rianiti Franks.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Commissioners. We previously had an agreement with Bonner Mobile Bar Service to provide the beverage service for Sunset Celebration. That agreement expired. And then we had a couple of interested business owners here in the town that wanted to provide this service for Sunset Celebration. So we were directed to put out an RFP for the beverage service again. Once we did, we only received one proposal. It was from Bonner Mobile Bar Service again. It was complete. And so at this time, we're asking you to authorize the agreement with Bonner Mobile Bar Service.
Just out of curiosity, you had other businesses that had interest. But
Yes, but they did not
Did they
submit a proposal ultimately.
They provide any reasoning as to why?
No, if I had to guess, I think that their licenses were not up to par with what we would need for Sunset Celebration.
Okay. Okay. I was just curious. It's just
Yeah.
a little baffling. Okay. Any other questions?
No.
Vice Mayor?
This is the vendor that has the Malibu truck?
Yes.
Important question there.
I know.
Commissioner Hensley?
I was probably one of the people who made a fuss about using Lake Park businesses, but if they didn't apply, then they didn't apply. So, and that guy does a great job, and he applied, so.
Well, and that's why we put it back out again, to give them the opportunity to, but.
Well, you gave him the option.
Okay. Commissioner Thomas?
Are there two beverage services? I mean, one is the mobile, and then there was another one that used to be right at the door of the Marina building, or is this the same one?
This is the same. It's just that when we moved to the park, they started using their trailer as opposed to just their bar at the marina.
Correct.
Okay. So we could actually have more than one. It's just those who actually submitted. We can only have one. There can only be one. Highlander, only one.
Commissioner Hensley?
I'm so sorry. I'm going to ask this question too. It says Sunset Celebration. Would it be at all events? Like, would it be there Friday?
They will be the vendor for this Friday, yes. But for the multicultural event, there's a different one.
We will have a vendor there, though, right?
Yes.
Right.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions? I will entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Second.
We have a first and a second. Any other further discussion? Seeing, hearing none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Resolution passes. Town attorney comments.
I'm only going to say this once. Happy New Year.
Indeed. Indeed. Happy New Year to you as well, sir.
Looking forward to a safe and prosperous New Year. Thank you, Mayor.
Absolutely. Now, our new town manager, Mr. Reed.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First, I want to just say thank you to you all. Oh, sorry, it's so close. I want to say thank you to you all as the Town Commission for the opportunity to serve as a town manager here in Lake Park. Also, I wanted to mention that over the past 5 days, I've learned that we have an absolutely great staff, and I look forward to working with them all. I've also had an opportunity to meet some of our members of the community, and I look forward to meeting more, as well as our business owners and our business partners, to ensure that we can continue to make Lake Park a great place to live, work, and play and learn. So I, again, appreciate this opportunity. I don't take it lightly, and I look forward to growing the community in a positive way. So thank you again for the opportunity. I also want to thank Spark to Ignite for the amazing picture. I ran out real quick after they left and just thanked them again, and it's such an honor. And again, I do encourage our community to review the website and learn more about the organization. The folks are amazing in what they do, and it's probably one of my new favorite organizations. So I look forward to going over there and learning more. And I did want to mention a quick change that we've had an opportunity to address, and I want to thank Nadia and Jamie for that. Today we were talking about an issue regarding some work that's being done by an outside agency in our community, and there are different permits that are required, not only in our community development department, but also in our public works department. And we require some of our folks to go to different departments to obtain those permits or make application. And we decided today and that we're going to accept all of those permit applications in community development so that it's a one-stop shop. And that way we don't have people going back and forth and potentially, getting confused on where they need to go. And again, those are the types of things that I appreciate from our staff already, and the willingness to work together and partner in making the community better and make things more business friendly. I did want to mention also, I know that one of the big issues is the fill issue, and I can assure you that we're working on that and trying to understand that process and where the town stands within that. Also, I want to thank the town attorney for his help in a number of issues, including the big projects, the P3 and Nautilus, and we've spent a lot of time on that over the last couple of days, and I think we're moving forward. We'll be reaching out to FDEP on some of the issues and worked with the developer today, and so moving in the right direction, and I'll keep you all in the loop as we move forward. So again, I thank you for the opportunity, and I look forward to working with everybody. So thank you, staff. Thank you.
Thank you. Just to also add, I know you didn't get into town commission town manager comments, but just for the record, we do have town manager comments that will be put on the notes. And
should I do that right now?
No,
because there were a couple things that I did want to mention.
Okay.
Just real quickly, just for the community's sake, we do have our Dr. Martin Luther King Family Night Out on Friday, January 17th, from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. in Kelsey Park. Of course, there'll be live music, food, beverage, arts, crafts, vendors, games, activities, and kids zone, and admission is free, and parking will be free. Then also we have our sunset celebration on Friday, January 31st, from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. at Kelsey Park. There will be a full bar. Did I say that? Should I say it again? Happy and a variety of food, craft vendors, admission and parking are also free. And then also, just for the community's sake, the town will be closed for Martin Luther King Day on Monday, January 20th, in observance again of Martin Luther King Jr. Day. The public library will also be closed on Saturday, January 18th, and the marina will be operating at full hours throughout the holiday. And then finally, for the community again, residential sanitation will be affected on Monday, January 20th. There will be no residential sanitation collection as a result of observance of Martin Luther King Day. So just wanted to throw that out there.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. And again, welcome.
Thank you, sir.
All right, so commissioner comments. Commissioner Taylor.
Just Happy New Year. welcome. I'm really looking forward to the new year. I think it's going to be a good one. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Hensley.
I just want to say welcome, Town Manager. And I want to also thank the staff for all their hard work and always picking up our calls and having the answers for us. I really appreciate it, that too. And I want to give a special thanks to Captain G. Thank you so much for, I read the annual report from last year and crime being down. I really appreciate that and all the hard work you guys do for us, and hope you continue to decrease the crime. And I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Commissioner Thomas.
Happy New Year. Welcome, Mr. Reed. I left you a number of comments. Yeah. You know, just an introduction. Yeah, a number of comments. It's been cold. I don't know if I can handle it any more than for another week. I'm a Floridian. And winter, I'm just enjoying it, but I could only handle it for another 5 days because I'm a Floridian. Thank you very much. That's really all that I have to say.
All right, all right. Vice Mayor.
On my list, the crosswalk on Lake Shore between the two parks, it's not lighting up when a pedestrian crosses the pedestal, the lights in the street. My other item was Park Avenue building, and then we have the resiliency workshop on January 25th, which is for public input and discussion. Is there a draft ordinance for us to review ahead of time in advance of that, or are we just coming and we're learning as the rest of the public is on whatever materials will be presented then?
Hi there. Our consultant is working on some draft provisions. We did have a draft the last time, but that is being reworked. We did provide some feedback through our building official as well to our consultant. I should have that by the end of this week, so that we will have some materials for distribution next week ahead of the workshop.
Appreciate that.
You're welcome.
And that's from 10 to 12 on the 25th?
10 to 12. Yes, here in the chambers.
Will there be snacks?
Yes.
I mean, it'll be a good encouragement for
Yes,
for the
there will be
public,
snacks.
so, yeah.
That's all I have.
That's all you. Okay. Really quick, just want to say again, welcome to Mr. Reed for being a part of our town. We know you'll do great things with us here. Again, thank you, staff, to all that you do. You do great work. You also keep us sane when they're up here, because there are times where it go a little, they go up and down sometimes, but they're always good because we all work together really well. I did go to the Pandas Hideout, speaking of going into new businesses. If you haven't been over there, it'd be a great opportunity for you to go over there. They're very humble, very welcoming to be in the community. They've told me they've had a long process, but they're very excited about being a part of our business community. So I would say go ahead and check them out. I'm also looking forward to, I'm sorry?
I'm sorry. I just want to say they have carried out a big dining room.
Oh, yes, they do have a big dining room, and as well as carry. No, you didn't interrupt me at all. You were giving me information to say. They also have carry-out as well as a big dining room for you to enjoy what they offer as far as food and beverage. And I would encourage you all to go there if you haven't already. And if you're not familiar with where they're located in the building that was the former Pronti's on 10th Street, which is close to Cinderella, the cleaners and whatnot. So another great opportunity there. Also looking forward to our grand opening this Saturday. And looking forward to a great year. This should be a good year. Our town is only going up, and we can only go up from where we are. And again, it takes a village to make a town work, and we got a great village here. So
Where did you get this?
that I got from staff upstairs. Deborah Person is the lady to talk to, if I'm not mistaken. There we go. All righty. With that, any requests for future agenda items? Aside from me wanting Mr. Aram or a representative of Mr. Aram to come and talk to us about the Park Avenue building, just for future. Commissioner Taylor?
I've received list of things, and the most comments that I've heard, a lot of them have been about traffic from here, the meetings we've had, not traffic, but the motorized scooters and that sort of thing, about people have had near misses with a lot of these, these bikes, trikes, whatever you want to call them, all kind of stuff on the road. So in the future, not right away, but I think it's something we could look at.
Okay. Just to add, I'm on, myself in particular, I'm on the North Region and Community Advisory Board with the PBSO. They're a great group. They provide a lot of resources and information about what they do and what they offer and how they span. If you have anything you'd like me to bring to their attention, you can email me, go to my email on the website, or you can reach out to me. I'll definitely provide them all the information. They're always looking for information from the community, because many eyes makes things work, as well as give them information that they need to know and what they may not know. So again, just wanted to point that out. If we have no other requests for future agenda items, I will entertain a motion of adjournment.
I motion to adjourn.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Good night, everybody, and Happy New Year.